Hi, and welcome to EdTech Tips and Tools number 5. Today, we are going to talk station rotation lesson design. So one of the questions I get a lot with blended learning is how do I take a traditional linear lesson and turn it into station rotations? I always start with this infographic, especially for secondary teachers, because it really frames how you might think about a week in terms of fitting station rotations in there, especially if you have some time constraints. So notice how this allows for some direct instruction. We check for understanding. And then when we're ready to have students really deepen and apply their knowledge, we can dig into these station rotations. And that's what we are going to do today. So we are going to jump over to a station rotation template. You'll be able to make a copy of this for your own planning. But what I first ask teachers to do is go ahead and write down their agenda. So what is it that you would typically do in a normal class period? For ELA, we would typically have our grammar warm-up, followed by some sort of vocabulary review, class discussion based around a text that we have been reading, or maybe even their literature groups, and then always some sort of choose a response to something that they're reading, allowing them to create and build something that shows their knowledge. And so when we think about taking something linear like this and breaking it up into our 3 stations, the first thing I always ask teachers is about this small group. Because you as a teacher, when you pull those students out, have so much more ability to question them, to know what they know, and so it's a very valuable time. So I ask them, which of these agenda items is most essential that you're there for students? And in this particular one, it's probably going to be that class discussion, because teachers, they are able to tailor questions, they're able to provide feedback, they're able to focus on whatever standard it is, like author's tone or purpose that week that you're working on. And so first decide where are you going to be most useful and put it in that small group instruction. The next thing I have teachers do is think about, okay, well, we have your group. Where can students collaborate together so that there's some shared learning where they can maybe do some reciprocal teaching or talking out some trickier concepts? So if I look up here, I'm going to choose this grammar warm-up because I know that some students are really strong with grammar, some students really struggle with grammar, so that might be a good place for them to team up, to collaborate, and do some revising. It could be on authentic work that they're doing, or it could be on some daily oral language or something like that. And then we have the individual tech-based station. And this is typically where you might use a tool or something. And so I am pulling this vocabulary review over because students could use Quizlet or some other tool in order to review that vocabulary, to test themselves, to see how they're working. And then I'm also going to put this card, choose a response work time over here so that they have some time if they get done with their vocabulary review early or they're feeling very confident that they can use the rest of that time to work. Then once our 15 minutes or 20 minutes are up, we can think about switching or rotating through those stations so that in the 2 days, each student gets to hit each of those stations. So again, when we think about taking an agenda, first ask, where am I most useful? Where can students work together? And what is it that they can do on their own? And that is how you take a vertical agenda and turn it into station rotations.